I'm glad to meet online Azra Deniz Okyay from Turkey, the director of Ghosts, taking part this year in the Balkan competition of the 25th Sofia Film Festival. I just mentioned before switching the camera that the atmosphere of her movie reminded me a song and the atmosphere of a video clip of the new wave band Kim Kyo called Sanki Hiç Dormada, exploring the same problematic urban reality in Istanbul nowadays. The genre is a bit different, of course. If we could compare the song to a kind of a poem or a short story, we could say Azra Deniz Okyay's film is a kind of a multi-layered novel on the same subject or subjects. The first thing, and we should probably start from here, the first thing that really impressed me is the structure and the construction of the film. The flashbacks, all these different angles to see sometimes the same situations but a bit different, and so on and so on.
This is really the situation that I filmed from my country for sure. And it was like archiving what I was living, like a war photographer, having many pictures of what we are living for, getting the situation, getting the image that we are living. It was really important work for me of that, yes.
Would you share with us the meaning of this particular date, 26th of October 2020, when the different stories in your film take place? I suppose you finished the film a bit before this date, so it should be a kind of future.
I finished the film before this date, so I decided to get a time that no one knows and no one can say no. And this time it was a big, I don't know what in Turkey, so you couldn't do that film for this time. So I decided to make it in the future, and I couldn't expect that it's gonna be apocalyptic like now. So it was really crazy for me. And also, yeah, I adore the film Back to the Future, who's 26 October. So I get this dates for just a little joke. It's one of the films that I adore when I was kid. So yeah, I planned like that. It was a play.
Yeah. And we are actually back to the future. For example, this particular scene when the police enters the illegal party of the young people in this abandoned building, it's pretty familiar for the Turkish reality after 2016, but it becomes even more universal nowadays when people all around the world could not gather anymore and have parties and so on.
It's a good point. I think that as an artist, as a writer, you're always having if you're talented or you need to say something by heart and saying, I need to write that, like I wrote it also. You get a premonition, yeah. You have to do the feeling from the future. That's it's also academician people can know what's this distraction can at the end ended up on something. So this pressure, I was feeling that it was really big chaos and big darkness, and continuing like everything was normal on the same time was really important to show. And having this little frog all the time on my mind in my country and trying to get out of this frog and continue to live daily with this pressure was one of the most important things. But yes, as an artist, I'm sure that everybody sometimes feel that if we are not doing that, it's gonna happen like that. And it's the only important message that we can get on our inspiration, and we have to do as an artist and filmmaker.
You talk about many different subjects in Ghosts. I mean, fast and aggressive gentrification, for example, or the self-expression of the young people and the street culture and the censorship of the reality on them. You talk about the everyday struggles of the women in the modern Turkish society, or everyday struggles of the queer people, or the Syrian refugees in Istanbul. So I could imagine that it's probably not the favorite film of the authorities in your country. Did you have any particular problems to shoot on the street, for example? Because you have some extreme scenes happening exactly on the street.
The thing is that I shoot it kind of. We give them a script, of course, not all, I can say. But I also call them. They would get the authorization. I call them on the one of the most dangerous plan séquence when the place is burning. You know, we call them before one night before, saying we're gonna burn some stuff on the place. And but the day of the shooting, one day after, we get been arrested with 5 tanks of police and 30 Kalashnikov. They just think that we were really burning and we were terrorists. So suddenly in 5 minutes, I get all the leaders of terrorism and police leaders of Istanbul and Turkey with me, just pointing me with their phone. What are you doing? And I was saying I'm a filmmaker. Who? What? Firstly, I was a girl with 6 hoodie. I was like a high school girl, so they didn't expect that I can be a director. I was like feeling like I was saying I'm an astronaut. They couldn't understand. And so when they understand that I was a filmmaker, because my team was in, my 40 people team was on the other side of the road and we were 6 person, they couldn't understand. But the thing is that it's really filming in a country like that, make you in position that you're on the edge of the danger of stuff. When the police was coming, the neighbor people were really like each other a lot. They were saying, we're gonna protect you from them, from the police. And we were really on the edge of the stuff, and it was really crazy. It was not easy to film. Firstly, it was really you have to be camouflage, and you have to hide yourself for really filming what you want. But on the same time, when you're filming this moment of magic, or this is the most really precious thing that I couldn't film anywhere on the world, because it's firstly, it's my country, it's my people. And secondly, we filmed in 17 days. This film is a really punk opera, what I'm calling. It was like kind of a guerrilla way also. Sometimes how we were filming. Filming this stuff was, yes, and dangerous. And one day after, we were shooting a building. This building was disappearing. Suddenly people were um, well, it was the problem of the city. 3 buildings what get been destroyed when we filmed, so we couldn't film again one another seconds. And it was really the filming the fragility of this person, the situation, the lives. And it really, I in the moment of physical way, I lived also this pressure to film everything that before disappearing. It's also a word of Eric Romer, the French filmmaker. Like, you have to film a city who's getting destroying, and I really feeling that. I couldn't imagine that I can know this expression, but now I really get on my blood. I mean, it was really painful. So many moments for us, and so hard work, of course.
Your film points a very important side of everyday lives in Turkish society nowadays. How the big cities change and actually how they lose their identity, and generally the dark side. You show the dark side of the construction business.
Yeah, this is the really most important thing that I learned, because my parents are urban planners and architects, and when I was kid, we were going to Mardin, a curious city, getting protected by UNESCO. So my father was member of UNESCO, so they were working together. I couldn't understand that if you're protecting an area, you will also protect the human inside. So this is really, so you are protecting history, cultural heritage, the stories, the family, happiness, all together. And this one was really like, I also made short documentaries where two young girls are dancing. They're Romani in 2016, and I was really getting this side that they're they're destroying for making a new Turkey, some new beton, new buildings, and so they're arriving with their culture and their stories. And this is the what I'm criticizing. You cannot destroy like that all a community, all stories, and saying this is new Turkey. And all the Turkey now is so similar to each other. I mean, all the buildings is so. When you're in the plane, when you're arriving to Kurdish area or in the south of Turkey, you can see sometimes a big buildings, and this is really so shameful for me. Like, there is no identity. They are making a distraction for unifying on one identity, one multicultural heritage culture. I think this is really catastrophic about that.
Another topic, it's kind of important for me as a viewer. I mean, the fact that your film starts in a darkness. I'm describing the first scene to the audience that still haven't seen it. And you have a car on the street and a radio in a car and the news on the radio. It's a statement by itself, I think, how the media treats all these problems and the actual situation when very often the art talks about these problems publicly, not the media, because the media is very often not so objective and not so independent. But in the same time, everybody in your film has his or her voice through their smartphones. You give a direct example how the technology could be something very positive in terms of giving more angles and perspective to any situation in life.
Yes, for first of all, the darkness has really happened in 2015 in Turkey. Like 70 city was under we are no electricity all day long, and it was really crazy. And when we were turning on the TV on the night when the electricity come back, we saw another big chaos. A big important judge would get been suddenly with two terrorists get been shut down. I mean, we were just expecting to understand why there were no electricity, and suddenly there was another chaos. It's, I think that it's really kind of a shock doctrine. You are forgetting what you lived before and shock, and at the end of the day you were completely someone else with the shock of everything. This is Noemi Klein, really important academician that I know, that I adore, and I really understand my country like that. So this darkness, I need to also put it aesthetically. How, as an artist, coming also from video art, I was wanted to push everybody to the darkness. So like the characters was disappearing on the dark. How we can just survive with a little phone lights. It was really pushing aesthetically and technically the film. And yeah, the smartphone, yeah, it's really our lives, but on the same time, for me, it was a new way of for the chapter of the film, getting the point of view, different point of view, and different changing moments and changing situation, for getting all in a spiral, and also kind of a hand woolen carpet, Turkish carpet. It's like that. I mean, everything is really connected to another, and I think that one subject could not be written or written in my mind for the subject. If I need to put this problem of the constructions in Turkey, I need to understand why these guys were supporting this, because I think it's kind of a Sisyphus character or Stockholm syndrome. They don't think that anything else can exist. And also I wanted to get for my mind a woman character who was dealing as a drug dealer, suddenly how she can turn up to drug dealing, and that she's gonna be connected to this guy because she needs help. And I think that sometimes some subject in Turkey you cannot really you cannot just put one character. You have to understand the other point of view for getting the balance. Otherwise it's gonna be a classical movie like the bad and the goods, and I'm not interested in that. I need to get a little empathy for all my characters, for getting a solution at the end for me, for the breaking this little light, because all the film for me it's a kind of a domino effect, everything is falling. It's like one building, also like if you're just destroying one facade, one wall, others gonna collapse. So this is the idea that I get from my film. And so the rhythm, the helicopter sound, and all the stuff, it was the new technology for me, like bringing new tools, because it's also coming from video art. I could use a helicopter like another character who's gonna cut off the voice. Normally you have to hear the voice, but I wanted to put that we cannot hear, because in Istanbul when something is really happening, we cannot hear each other when we're talking because there is helicopter. So I need to bring that, like also again like a documentary or war photographer. So technology was being used for that, like getting out the technology and like no electricity, and putting also others tools for me was so natural.
Yeah, this helicopter, I consider it a kind of character in the film. The helicopter flying almost among the buildings in the small neighborhood. If somebody jump with a time machine, for example, from 2007 or 2008, in your film's reality, he could think it's pure science fiction, but it's not.
Yeah, now we can more understand that dystopia or utopia, I mean, everything's collapsing on our minds. So we can more understand maybe this film now, unfortunately. And this is, I didn't expect to be in a situation like that, like in the pandemic, but I just feel that everybody in the same issue, actually. If you are making a film universally, with the language of universality, it's working. So that's why I wanted to bring no lights. People can understand if there is no lights, there is oppression. Not just getting some characters is really dealing with their problems that nobody can understand. Really, I need to get more. My side is being more objective on storytelling. So yeah.
If we talk about this spiral or swirling structure of your film, which is something to be seen, I could not even explain it. Congratulations to your editor, by the way. And in the center, in the middle of this structure, spiral, we have really multi-layered society. Part of this society are the Syrian refugees, which problems and hard life we have kind of forgot during this COVID crisis. But it's a common situation here on Balkans. As far as I know, your family also have their roots from abroad, including Bulgaria.
Yes, I adore. Yes, I adore that. They are most hard worker people that I know, and being connected to another culture, I think that make you also objective on my country. So my father's it's a Bulgarian grandfather is from my mom's family, and my father's family, they are from Turkmenistan, nomad. I mean, they are from Antakya. They are really south, more to Kurdish region. So I'm really from two other side. I get also French education from so young age. So it's really amazing to get other cultures minds on your when you're growing up, and feeling like no culture or any culture and multicultural, and I adore all my origins. And on the same time it's make you more objective for getting the criticizing where are you living. I never been nationalist of my life, so it's one of the stuff. And this is the position that you get tech and make things better with making pointing some important ideas and getting the as a new generation. I think we have to speak more. We have to give more opportunity for new ideologies and new techniques. Because I'm a mixed culture. I'm also making also a hybrid art, like getting and the video art on my mind, and on the same time getting the learning the best technology for bringing the best scripts, like you were saying, for the editor. She was amazing. I think that she's amazing. But just before the shooting, we were working with the editor and DOP on the same time on the table, 2 weeks, because every shots that we need to make have to get a fluidity with the other. So the director of photo was getting the on his mind the fluidity with the camera for making stuff better. So the film, that's why it's more fluid. There is a lot of things going on, but I really worked so mathematically. But I made a kind of a hybrid way. Nobody learned me that before. So I because I get no money, I decide to work more harder before, also for getting no problem on the editing moment on the at the end of the film. So it was really different culture and different techniques that I learned all my life who bring me now this film.
What will you share about the music and the sound structure and the rhythm of the film? Of course, we have this helicopter, but we also have piano improvisation in the beginning. And I always read the credits after the film and just noticed it's you, the piano player.
Music, yeah, it's something important on my life. I get to the conservatory when I was young. When I was living in Paris, I get a group of music, and here also in Istanbul, I always made music. But the thing is that for me, it's also a really important thing. The music, the helicopter sound that I use to be also get from the soundtrack. I asked my composer, I can feel she's really talented. I said to her, like, you have to compose with the same rhythm of the helicopter sound all the songs. And I think it's la, the note of la, the helicopter sound sometimes. So we need to bring with this la note all the film, and the song is gonna compose with this stuff. Is coming one line of sound. You have to bring kind of an echo all the film, because I couldn't really use different music all the time. It's gonna really be loud for the auditor, because it's there is different characters, different subjects. So, and the music can have to just push the moment and bringing the connection. There's also one moment there is the muezzin who's singing, and I also put the muezzin on other 20 minutes after for making the connection of the stuff. The sound is also a bridge on the film and the soundtrack. So yeah, it was a big pleasure to work like that with Ekin for the film. It was so until the beginning, the music was on the work plan.
And now at the end, what's your message to the Bulgarian audience that is just about to see ghosts?
Message. I think that I want to talk about with a word that, like Greta Thunberg said, hope is contagious. And I think that with the new generation, we have to bring new solutions, new techniques, new films. And I'm really so proud to try to make them understand, all the people, what we are going through. And art is really a good weapon for that. And it's helping. And sometimes it's making the little light, and one film can change the people. So I believe on this magic. And I hope good luck to everybody who want to make films. They need to bring their own tools. They need to make hybrid ways. Nobody maybe can learn us, but this is the most beautiful thing for also changing the future.
Azra Deniz Okyay, a special online guest of the 25th Sofia Film Festival. Çok teşekkürler.
Ben de teşekkür ederim.